What's up, Internet? I'm George Edward, and in today's video, we're going to be going over how I grew to 10,000 followers on Instagram and how you can do so too. Ooh, Instagram. Facebook's wonder child. The app that, if you're anything like me, just seems to kind of delete time and attention away from your day like no other. It's a platform we all love and hate. But say what you will, it has I think close to 1.1 billion active users now worldwide. So in my opinion, it's an app that is not going anywhere. Now I know Instagram currently has a large emphasis on video, but in the past, I think it's estimated in the past 12 months, 10% of all the photos that exist in the world have been taken. So people are taking photos at a rate that is unparalleled to any point in time in history because it's the easiest it's ever been. Pull out your phone, snap it, done. And people need a place to post those photos. Shown here, we have the number of active users on Instagram over the past couple of years, dating back to 2013, and from the most recent when Instagram hit 1 billion active users in 2018. This is the app, this is the platform, this is the way that people are consuming these types of photos. So there's a few main topics I will discuss in today's video. First and foremost is understanding your audience and your niche. Next up is the post actually pushing out. For photography pages, the posts are the meat and potatoes of what you're doing. So you're gonna wanna make sure that those posts are of a certain quality, at a certain frequency, and at a certain time so they're the most optimal to digest. Next on the list, we got hashtags, something I know a lot of people love and hate, but at the same time, it's literally a free categorization method for all of your photos. We'll talk about why that's so important. And then next up, we have promotional items. So this is going to be the Instagram promotions and also giveaways, both of which I think are really creative ways in order to boost posts. And we're saving the best for last. We're doing the ever loved follow unfollow method. Is it good? Should you do it? Is it bad? Should you not do it? We'll go over that as well. So understanding your niche and your audience. This to me is going to be paramount in your growth. And I do think that this goes with a level of subjectivity. When you're starting out, when you're at 0 to 1,000 followers, you're very much in a growth state. And then from 1,000 to 10,000, you're very much growing, but you're refining as well because you've probably already kind of honed in on some things. So my point is, have an idea of the niche it is you think you want to fit in, but be flexible. When I started, I thought it was going to be all street photography, and now it's pretty much landscape photography. So be subjective, let yourself kind of flow through it, but make sure that you have a defined niche and that you're working within one. Next is the audience, right? So we want to make sure that we're actually working to grow an audience and working with that audience. So this is all part of just kind of looking at the metrics of who's engaging with your content. Like for me, I think it's pretty average. I have a lot of 52% male, 49 or something percent female. Then I have a large amount of followers in the actual Northeast of the United States. And that's because of the location tagging I'm using. And then in California as well. And we'll get into location tags when we talk about posting, but they're extremely helpful in order to kind of boost engagement as well. In my opinion, these are pretty small pieces of the puzzle, but it's just a good business practice to get a sense of that early on. See who's working with your content, see who's engaging with it, see who's not. That way you can continue to curate your feed to tend to those that are actually engaging with it. And obviously you want to just kind of thread the needle. What's the stuff you like to make? What's the stuff they like to digest? Find that middle ground that you're happy to work in and continue to push out content that feeds that middle ground. So frequency of posting. And there's a couple things we'll talk about here. So frequency of posting is going to be pretty important, and in my opinion is the #1 growth strategy across all social media platforms. Whether it's YouTube, whether it's Twitch, Instagram, having that frequent schedule is going to be extremely helpful. It'll keep you regimented and it'll keep them regimented on when they can actually expect content from you. So the reason this is going to be so helpful for you is just because of the amount of attention that Instagram garners per day. Instagram has roughly 3.76 billion visits every day. The average user spends roughly 30 minutes on Instagram, and 63% of Americans are on Instagram. So really quickly, we're seeing the amount of traffic that this site or that this app is getting. So what we want to do by adhering to a frequent posting schedule is make sure we're optimizing our time in front of those people. And now this is where it would actually bleed into knowing your audience and knowing when to post. So I myself have a large audience in the northeastern part of the United States. There's also a ton of people in California as well, because location tagging definitely helps your posts. And when I visit California, it's obviously all California posts. So I've grown a following over there too. So what I want to do is make sure I'm posting at a time that adheres to both of those larger markets. So 3 p.m. I find is like the tail end of the workday. People are going throughout their days, maybe a little less busy, taking a small break, scrolling through their phone, and that's when I can get them. And same with the West Coast. 3 p.m. Eastern puts me at noon Pacific. And so what I am able to do is get them during hopefully their lunch break when they're chilling, eating a salad, scrolling on their phone, and they can see a post by George Edward, like it, comment, and go throughout their day. That's why having a good understanding of your audience and who you're actually talking to will really be helpful, because it'll let you make smart decisions on, like for instance, when you're posting. So to directly coincide with that, we have quality versus quantity. So what you want to do is make sure you have a posting frequency that works for you. For me, I find it's like 2 to 3 times per week. That to me seems to be the most optimal. And then also, right, you're adhering to a quantity that you think is acceptable, then you want to adhere to a quality that you think is acceptable. There's going to be photos that you post that you love, and there's going to be photos that you don't necessarily love, but it's not necessarily your choice. I've had photos I absolutely love that do nothing on the platform, and I've had photos I thought were like meh that did really well on the platform. You'll have to find like a barometer that you find acceptable on where you'll budge on quality, but when you find that, it'll help you kind of define your quantity as well. Because you're like, all right, I like this batch of photos, we'll put those out, and you'll continue to kind of post. And over time, you'll build a backlog of things you could post around certain times of the year. And the whole habitual practice behind posting will get a lot easier, all the while adhering to the quality that you find acceptable. So next up, we have our good old friends, the hashtags. And I love saying it like that because it reminds me of like the Kardashians. But the hashtags are important. The hashtags are helpful. In my opinion, it streamlines the compartmentalization and categorization of your posts. It makes them way easier for other people to find just off happenstance. Instagram limits the amount of hashtags you can put on a post to 30. Take advantage of all 30. If you were to buy 30 lottery tickets, why would you only scratch 10 of them? Scratch all 30. You never know what could be on them. So a lot of these meta metrics behind the post are helpful. Posts with at least one hashtag gets 12.9% more traction. Posts that include another handle get 56% more engagement, and posts with a location tag receive 79% more engagement. So with hashtags placed in the caption, accounts with 5,000 followers or less got 36.85% more engagement on their posts. That to me kind of says it all. That's why you should be doing it. And the numbers kind of go up in scale when you're looking at a larger account, but the percentage of increased engagement plateaus at around 20 and kind of just halts there. No matter where you sit, whether you have millions of followers, whether you have a couple 100,000, or whether you have over 10K, we're really looking at 20% more engagement on posts if you have hashtags in them. My recommendation on how to properly use hashtags is find a photographer you like or someone similar that you want your page to be like, and then go through and see what hashtags they're using. Click on those hashtags and explore those hashtags and see if you like the photos that are housed within them. If you do, write down that hashtag and put it in a notes page on your phone. You build a list of 30. Every time you post, copy, paste, done. It's tagged, it's categorized. So I know we're harping on this, but a few more statistics for you. So this I think is pretty important. This is for accounts that specifically have less than 1,000 followers. One of their posts with at least one hashtag in it gets 29% more engagement, and 12 or more hashtags on a post gets 79.5% more engagement. This is why it's so important. You want to make sure you're properly tagging everything. That's locations, that's hashtags, that's people. All of this will help you expand. So next up, we got a bit about the pay to play method. This is going to be promotions and giveaways. Instagram's promotion mechanism, in my opinion, is decent. The reason I think it is helpful is if you use it in tandem with a strategic post or a post that you know is doing really well. So what I've done in the past, if I had a post that got a couple thousand likes on its own, I've then promoted it to really kind of boost and again, keep that snowball going. This coincides with hashtags, right? If you have a post that is promoted well, it's getting a lot of likes fast, it'll stay on that top portion of the hashtag page, and then more and more people will continue to see it. So it's really kind of helpful to kind of gas the flame every now and again. When you see a post is doing well, continue to torch it so you can continue to kind of spark and build momentum. A little bit about the commerce behind it. Most of my posts that I did with promotions were like $180 to $250 depending. But for reference, I would see around 45,000 to 65,000 engagements on the post, right? So we'd get clicks, we'd get, people looking at it, likes, things of that nature. You'd get that type of attention when you did a promotion just through Instagram. Now, where things get a bit more interesting is when you do it in tandem with some more strategic posts. So for instance, I ran a giveaway on my page for an Epson V600 scanner and a Patterson Dev Tank. So I ran that giveaway for a week long. And when I ran that giveaway, I promoted the post as well. So I had a lot of people that had to tag 2 people and follow me, as well as a call to action on the promotion. So more people would tag 2 people and follow me. In that week long period, I think I saw a growth of around 854 followers. So I went from a little over 9.1K, and now I'm sitting at like 10.3K. So that's the type of kind of growth you could see fluctuate if you do some strategic promotions with a giveaway. So last but not least, this is the taboo, and that's follow and follow. So follow and follow, whenever I've watched these videos, was something I felt like was never truly talked about because I think people don't want to admit it was something they've done, but I would go as far to say that most pages in their early stages of growing did it. It's definitely seen as a pesky tactic, definitely seen as a disingenuous tactic. That said, it does bring about some growth, especially in the early stages. Accounts with over 1 million followers, 5% of which do follow and follow. So that's most likely bot driven at that stage. But the point is, it's still seen as a substantiated tactic. And then for accounts that have 20,000 to 100,000 followers, 28.4% are doing follow and follow. So that's a much wider percent. That's kind of where we're living. From 1,000 to 5,000, you have like 10% of doing it. But I would say the 1,000 to 5,000 bucket is where more people should be doing it. I think it can be the most impactful there. And here's my reasoning for that. There's a lot you will learn by doing it. To do it correctly and to do it well, you'll have to find pages that you think emulate a similar message to yours. And by doing so, it'll help you refine the message of your page and of your brand. You'll also have to dive into different hashtags and follow people that are following those hashtags. And that alone will help you find hashtags that you should be using. So it builds a lot of brand awareness and where you think you sit, and it helps you in your path towards niche definement. A bit about my experience with it. Instagram allows like 200 follow items per day, whether that's follow or unfollow. And so what I would do mostly is follow 200, next day unfollow 200, and then I'll repeat that process. What I would see is like 30 people to 50 people would follow me back, but that's 1/6 to 1/4 of the people that I actually followed me back. And then what I would then do is see who's following me back, look at their pages, see where they sit, what types of pages they were. And then I would know a little bit more about the brand that I was putting out, what types of people were digesting my brand. And then the next time I would do it a little bit more curated. And I think that's where it's a respectful practice. The reason I point all this out is just because it is a bit of a taboo topic and I don't think it's touched often, but I do think in the early stages, it really helps you with niche refinement, helps you with audience engagement, and it helps you kind of learn where you fit, all the while learning what you're trying to do with this platform, because it's like knocking on someone's door. You follow them, like, oh, who's this? George Edward? Who's this guy? Oh, he's a pretty cool photographer. That's cool. Let me follow him back. And then you stick around. Maybe you see their stories now. You start engaging with them. And I've met a lot of cool people like that. So be open to it. Try it. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But it's one of the tactics, so I thought we'd talk about it. So my last piece of advice for you here would be post what you like as often as you can, all the while maintaining a quality level that you deem acceptable to a group of people or to a niche that you think your material will resonate with the most. And that's it. There's no science to it. It's just all about feel, and that's really the feeling. What can you post? At what rate? At what level? To who? And you do that, and you do it consistently, and you keep refining it over time. You will build not only yourself, not only your brand, but your audience and your niche and all of the people that are following along with you. What I will say, should you have an idea of the niche you want to land in? Yes. Should you be willing to change that? Of course. Should you be focused on the amount of followers you want? Yes. But should you be focusing on the quality of everything you're posting over the followers? Of course. So I think there's layers like that to this that you'll learn throughout, and you will change as you go through this. Your brand will change as you go through this, most likely for the better. So be open to that change. Be open to defining yourself and redefining yourself throughout this, because that's kind of the whole point of it too, right? To develop your own skills as well as to develop a brand. But as always, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Like if you like it, subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.